Hello. Welcome to my channel. Today, I will show you a 2022 romance drama titled Doom of Love. Spoiler alert. Watch out and take care. Firat wakes up after a long time in coma. As he opens his eyes, his parents shout out in joy. The next day, Firat asks his mother about the others. His mother gives a sad expression that leads Firat to explain how it all started about a year ago. A year before, Firat owns an agency that publishes obituaries in newspapers. Unfortunately for him, his company no longer gets customers due to the quick decline of newspapers. He owes his staff and also owes the government. He has a total debt of about 150,000. Firat orders his worker and friend Melda to pack the necessities at the office as he prepares to shut down. He keeps thinking about his debts, and Melda invites him to a yoga camp. She also tells him about their mutual friend Serhat, who has made a lot of money on Bitcoin, and advises him to borrow some money to pay his debts from Serhat. Following this advice, Melda, Firat, and Serhat prepare for the yoga camp and leave for the camp. On their way, Serhat is too busy with work that Firat doesn't have time to talk to him. The first activity of the camp is meditation. The moderator introduces Yusuf, Lydia, and others from a worship team to sing for the mediation. After the meditations, Firat walks around the camp alone and sees Lydia angrily talking to her mother. After the phone call, Lydia throws away her phone angrily, and Firat attempts to help her find it. He collects her number to call her phone, and they talk for a while before Yusuf walks into the conversation. One night at the camp, Firat attempts to ask Serhat about Bitcoin. Serhat starts talking about money all through the night, and Firat doesn't have the opportunity to ask for the money he needs. On the last night of the camp, the moderator, which Melda thinks has a psychic spirit, tells them that the sky shows a long time of calamity and adversities are coming. Only the people who survive the calamity will experience the doom of love. She tells them about signs and wishes them goodbye, hoping to see them again during the doom of love. After the last speech, Lydia and Yusuf sing, and everyone leaves for their home. In the car home, Serhat is still distracted by his calls, so Firat calls him and speaks to him about the debts. Reluctantly, Serhat lends Firat 30,000. Upon getting back home, Firat receives a call from his parents. He speaks to them normally without telling them about his business issues. While on the can, Irfan, Firat's friend who works at a pharmaceutical company, visits him. Irfan begs Firat to visit his company the next day despite Firat's refusal that the work isn't meant for someone like him. The next day, Firat goes to Irfan's office. Irfan employs him to enlighten people about their drugs, and the first task is to attend a seminar with Irfan at Marmaris. They travel to Marmaris, and Firat is bored all through the seminar. After the first session, he walks toward the hotel bar and hears a voice singing. He recognizes this voice to be Lydia. He walks there and meets Lydia and Yusuf. After the singer's presentation, they meet with Firat, and they talk. He tells them about his former job and his new job. Before departing, Lydia asks him to join them for their next event that evening. But the event clashes with Firat's company's meeting, so he refuses to go. He returns to the hotel and calls Melda. He tells Melda about Lydia, and she advises him to follow his heart, so he forfeits and attends Lydia's event at night. After the event, they sit by the water till sunrise, and they talk. The next morning, Yusuf and Lydia persuade Firat to follow them to their event, and they may even allow him to play some instruments. He takes the offer, calls Irfan that he is no longer interested in the job, and bids Irfan goodbye. That day, he follows them as they sing, returns to their home at night, and goes with them. At home, Lydia introduces him to her dog, Masun. On his first morning at that home, he is awakened by Lydia's father, Besit, who knocks and asks for Banu. He insists that no Banu exists in their house until Lydia comes out. In a conversation between Besit and Lydia, he begs her to return home and be their dear Banu again. She should come back home and continue her architecture career and also make them proud again. She informs him that she has never been as happy as when she became Lydia, and she, unfortunately, will never leave her Lydia identity. He must make himself accept that she is Lydia. Besit disowns her and leaves. During a night conversation between Yusuf and Firat, Firat asks Yusuf where he knew Lydia, and Yusuf explains that it was his late girlfriend, Elif, that introduced him to Lydia. He says that after he lost Elif, he found it difficult to let go of her, and he decided that he would never let go of the dead. Rather, he will live with the dead. He also asks Firat what he feels for Lydia. At first, Firat attempts to deny his love for Lydia, but he later accepts that he loves her, but it's her feelings that matter. So during one night out with Lydia, he asks Lydia what she thinks about love. Lydia responds that she doesn't really know much about love, but she believes love should be a spontaneous thing and a thing of the moment. That night, they both make a wish to the shooting stars. During one of their long drives, Firat sees the sign their yoga moderator told them about. He calls the others' attention to it, and they deliberate about what to do. They decide to drive towards the sign. As they stop their vehicle, they see a wooden door. As they open the door, they meet with the moderator, who tells them they are on a silent camp for 7 days, and they decide to join the camp. A night before the end of the camp, Lydia and Firat share kisses. On their way to leaving the camp, Yusuf asks them if they are now dating because he saw them kissing. They start to laugh, and they get distracted. A train driving from the left crushes their car, and they meet an accident. Back to the present, Firat browses about the accident and finds out Yusuf lost his life. He insists on visiting Lydia. He tells his parent that Lydia's father Behzat own a construction company in Ankara, and he wants to go there to check on Lydia. His parents insist otherwise. They tell him that the world is facing COVID, and transportation is restricted. Since he insists, they offer him their car, and he drives to Ankara. He gets to Behzat's company and meets with him. He begs Behzat to allow him to see Lydia just once, but Behzat refuses. He says he can't allow him to remind their daughter of the life they have made her forget. So, Firat tails Behzat home that night. The next morning, while hiding in front of their home, he sees Lydia going for her physical therapy session with her mother. He tails them to the hospital, where he sees Lydia. They hug and catch up with old times, but her mother interferes. She tells him to bid her daughter goodbye, and he does so. Later, he meets with Lydia in her room, and they run away together. They return to their former house, where Lydia reunites with her dog. One night, they make out and have their first consummation. Lydia's dream brings them to the yoga moderator, and she takes them to a part of the mountain where they see Yusuf. Upon seeing Yusuf, they figure they are also dead. The yoga moderator tells them that circles do not end. It only has beginnings. She welcomes them to the beginning of their new journey to become stars. They hug each other as they remember their accident scene. Ending the movie. Firat says that ends are just pessimistic ways of referring to new beginnings, as ends aren't ends. They are the beginning of a new chapter. He opens his eyes to his new beginning with Lydia, where they walk around the forest. He says that happiness isn't a process. It is a moment that can't be stored or frozen. Thank you for watching the recap. Kindly subscribe to our channel to get notified when we post the next recap.